Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this evening here in Australia. So, it is my pleasure to introduce you to an incredible woman we have with us this evening. Her name is Alison Horn. She's an integrative naturopath and somatic practitioner, a homeopath herbalist. She's also a keynote speaker, speaks all over the world internationally. She's an author and, importantly, our independent Zinzino partner who has a lot of knowledge on the products because she has been using them in her clinical practice for some time now. So thank you, Alison.
Thank you so much, Margie, and welcome everyone to tonight. Thanks for your patience. And I guess we're all here because we're on a very similar pathway in life. We all want to be happy and healthy and to feel good as long as we possibly can. As I say, as a bit of a joke, as the dancing naturopath, I want to dance on beaches all the way up until when I can breathe no longer. And I'm sure that today's day and age, we are finding that we are living longer but actually living less. And that's something that I'm very passionate about changing and why I love being part of the Zenzino company. So we have so much information about what to do. We can Google Doc, we can use ChatGPT these days to ask what's going on and to try to find out what's happening with our health. But really, why is inflammation on the increase? And I talk to people and they don't even know what inflammation is sometimes. So tonight we're going to talk to you about inflammation and about why the world is under an increasing amount of inflammatory stress and inflammaging. And as you can see, even in this map, it's showing the world is on fire, which is basically what inflammation is. So let's move on a little bit further. Zinzino, who are they? Well, they're actually a wellness company from Scandinavia, and they have been around for 2 decades, 20 years, when they first discovered this little issue in a biomarker. So, as they've moved along in their development, not only have they discovered an imbalance in the world, but they've also taken the time to research how to change this. So, a lot of research has been going on behind the scenes to bring this company all over the world. So, what started in little Scandinavia has slowly grown, as you can see, over 100 countries now. This science and research is available direct to consumers so that they get control of their own health, which I think, even as a naturopathic practitioner, is amazing. That's what we want. We want preventative health care. So this test, I do need to update these numbers. It's over 1.6 million tests around the world have shown that the world is out of balance. 97% of the world no longer has a nice balance of omega-6 to omega-3, which means the world is, like I said before, it is inflamed. So how do we know this? Well, these test results are from 2 simple spots of blood, and they are sent to this lab. This lab is VITAS, and as you can see, it's an analytical lab that works for many other universities, such as Cambridge, Oxford. You can see them all listed here, Harvard. So it's doing their analysis for a lot of, I guess you would say, partners who are looking at health markers, not just what we're doing with dry blood spot, but a lot of other things as well. So they are our official partners. And that means, as I grab one of these cards, because this is my time to have a little bit of a rant, if you have never done your test yet, when you get your test kit, you need to rip this card, okay? Please, it's really important. All that connects your test results to the lab and back to your results again is a code. There is no identifying information. That is how we can use this for research purposes as well. There's no identifying information, and that's why it's been used to be the largest essential fatty acid database in the world for evidence-based research around our omega products and what is actually happening at a cellular level. Pretty cool. So don't lose your cards. Write the date on them. I usually put the date, and if it's test number 1, take a photo of it, then you don't lose it. Some people put it on the fridge and it gets lost, give it to the kids. Sometimes the dog's eaten it, but really, please keep the test. This is your cash. This is your results that you need to know. So why do we trust Zenzino? Well, I trust Zenzino because I'm very much a test-based practitioner. I like to test, see the pathology, then do the science to move things and see the pathology again after, which is exactly what our Chief Scientific Advisory Board are all about. Test, not guess. Okay, so we've got the best out of the best in the world who are very passionate about how we can reduce these inflammatory biomarkers on an international level to bring more health and healing to the global population, because the damage is so severe, as you will see very soon and understand just really what is happening at a cellular level across the globe. It does not discriminate. So what are omegas? So an omega-6 is an essential fatty acid. And you may say, what is an essential fatty acid, Alison? Well, it means that you cannot make it in your body. It's essential that you consume it. So they are important for the body as well. When we get sick or we've had an accident, cut ourselves, that triggers an inflammatory response. That brings the army, let's just say, to wherever it needs to go to help create healing. That's our own innate healing that can happen within the body. Once the healing has done, we have our own set of feedback loop, is what it's actually caused, that says, thank you very much, see you later. And we then call in the omega-3s, which should be in the body because they're an essential fat as well, and they calm down the inflammation. Okay, so an omega-6 versus an omega-3. Both are essential fats. Both need to be consumed. We don't make them. But one turns on inflammation like the accelerator, and the other turns off inflammation. It slows it down like the brakes do. Okay, so we're playing with the accelerator and the brake on inflammation in your body. And what was inflammation again? It is literally bringing healing to the body only when you need it. Otherwise, we may trigger too much and cause dis-ease. So we need to keep these in a beautiful balance. And it happens to be this ratio is 3:1. No more than 3 omega-6s to every 1 omega-3. Just remember the 3 is opposite. Easy way to remember that number. So what's gone wrong? Why all of a sudden do we have an issue? We were actually designed to be a 1:1 ratio. But over the generations, things have changed, certainly. And as you can see, our farming practices have changed. No longer can we consume all of our beautiful nutrients, phytonutrients from the food that we are just consuming, that we've grown in our own gardens, that are fresh, farm fresh, organic, not sprayed with pesticides or chemicals. Our soils have the right amount of nutrients, just like nature intended. Sadly, in the last at least 60 years plus, we have exposed our earth to chemicals, to over farming, to pesticides. We've fed our farmed meat and chicken and fish. We feed them up on grain to get them fat faster for the markets, to get more money, basically is what it's all about. So what it's doing is, while we're over consuming as a population, we are undernourished as that same population. So we're consuming more food, but there's less nourishment. And this is what's causing this omega-6 to 3 imbalance, as well as being told not to eat saturated fats, but to consume way more polyunsaturated fats, mainly from seed oils. Okay, so we have been consuming way too many omega-6s, and the average person does not consume omega-3s. Okay, or even sometimes they think they are, but those omega-3s have been adulterated and ultra processed to add more omega-6s inside. Okay, so this is what's really causing our issues with our ratios. But what does that mean? Well, let me talk about my favorite topic, the structure of a cell. Let's get a bit geeky. So the cell membrane is like a bubble. When you try to blow bubbles, you need to have the detergent mix just right, or you're trying to blow them and they just keep popping. Okay, has anyone ever felt like that before? Frustrated, blowing bubbles for the kids? The structure of our cells are exactly the same. They need a very specific ratio to keep that cell membrane intact and fluid. Okay, I want you to really remember this. This is the simplest biochemistry. Fluid is what we want the cell membrane to be. So we can see in the cell membrane, this is the structure, and I won't go into too much detail, but basically we have hydrolytic and hydrophilic, and these are the heads and tails, and these need to have the right ratio of essential fatty acids to allow nutrients to come in through that cell membrane and also toxins to go back out again. So what happens if that cell membrane gets stiff because it's got an imbalance of omega-6 to omega-3? I'll continue that until it gets right into the head, omega-6 and omega-3. This is what happens. We get rigid. It gets really inflexible. So therefore, you can't put the nutrients past the cell membrane and into the cell. So yes, you think you're eating some healthy food, you're taking your supplements, you think you're doing everything right. But guess what? It's bouncing off that cell membrane. It's not efficient. It's not effective. I know, right? This is the most amazing step that is in the biochemical pathways of everything that we do in every single cell, in every single organ, in every single body system, in your whole body. And as you can see, the body is on fire because it doesn't just affect a few cells. If this continues through silent inflammation, you end up with symptoms throughout the whole body. The sad part is most people think those symptoms are just normal. They think they're just normal for aging. You have a foggy brain, you forget things. All of a sudden, your hair's falling out, your hair is dull, your skin is dry and it doesn't repair easily, it's wrinkly. You've got heart problems, cardiovascular problems, blood pressure issues. And even all of the inner organs are starting to not function as well. It affects the joints and it also affects the muscles, and even it affects the gut. Production even of glutathione in the gut relies on omega-3s. Did you know that? Everybody's talking about the MTHFR gene and how these things change the biochemical structure within the body. But nobody's talking about the basics of the science. What do we need and how do we get it into the cell? But is there good news? Absolutely, always good news at Enzino. Normal function can be brought about by getting these omega-6 and omega-3 ratios again. Okay, so your cell membranes, if we catch them early enough, okay, we can't always produce miracles in the body, but we can certainly reverse inflammaging. If we catch these cells early enough, we can get them fluid again. Once the cell membranes, if there's enough of them that we get to, you can actually get the nutrients back inside the cell and the waste products back out again. And that actually changes your metabolic function. Okay, pretty cool. Who doesn't want that? I know I want to go reversing. I want to go to the green. The sad part is the majority of people are walking around underneath the water. So this is like the duck on the surface and you can't see the feet paddling underneath. The feet are representing the body under an inflammatory response, but nobody even knows it's happening. It's silent inflammation. It's only really when you get tested that you can really see where you are. Are you in the danger zone? I can tell you right now, there's a lot of very, very healthy practitioners who think they're doing everything right. And when we get them tested, it's a bit of a different story and it's quite surprising. Now, my very favorite topic is talking about the future generations. How do we reverse the damage that we have done as a snowball over the last 50 to 60 years? And this is the reason why I'm passionate. Let's get that started.
Your kid's health is personal, not a guessing game. Children's omega-3 needs are different than adults. Not all bodies are created equal, so why should we all take the same supplements? Ours were made for your whole family. Find out everyone's individual omega-3 needs with our at-home balance test. Our brand new Balance Oil Tutti Frutti has a fresh flavor of raspberry, mint, lemon, pear, and lavender, tailored for both grown-ups and kids, with no fishy taste. Backed by science, approved by kids. From the pioneers of test-based personalized nutrition. Zinzino, inspire change in life.
And this is why, because we're seeing children's levels increasing. And as I said, it's a snowball effect. This is what happens across generations. When one generation is lacking in nutrition, that passes that on during pregnancy to the next generation. And we end up with children with brains inflamed the day they're born, literally. And you can see this in this chart. So what we're looking at here is the very first column is showing us just a standard average everyday test result that we are having with someone who is not taking any omega supplements at all. Once again, we know this from the largest database of essential fatty acids in the world. Okay, over 580,000 test results were used for the research purposes. Now it has been printed in peer-reviewed articles, published as well. So I'm just saying that. So 0 to 9, 19 to 1 nearly. Whereas when you look at the older generation, they're still up there. They've still got inflammation happening, but it's at a lower level. We can tell when somebody's actually taking an omega-3, which is just your standard oils, which usually they add vitamin E to for oxidative protection. It still brings down the levels, but still not enough. We know that once you hit a 4 to 1 ratio, you are turning on inflammation. So the balance oil, which is this Enzino product, it actually brings you back down in under the balance ratio. How amazing is that? So I'm very passionate. We need to educate all of the women who want to fall pregnant, who are currently pregnant, or who are breastfeeding, that this is the moment that we can change the future generation's health. This starts with cellular health and wellness. So please make sure you are reaching out, you are talking, you are bringing other people onto the education, because this is the only way we're going to turn things around. The medical field are not quite on board with this yet we have a lot of integrative practitioners and many practitioners understanding the science behind what we are doing through Zinzino's products, especially the testing. So the science has been around for a long time. This is back in 2008 when they knew that this omega-6 to 3 ratio actually was going to cause disease. So the lower the ratio, we knew you reduced your risk of total mortality by 70%. I'll take that, thank you. We've got a reduced risk of cancer, a reduced risk of inflammation with arthritis, and also reducing even the risks of asthma. So we know that consuming fish is certainly preferred over all of the others for your omega-3s. Here's another study. This is around the omega-3 index, which is that number. So we need that number to be over 8%. The lower it is, the higher risk you have of an early death. The same predictor as smoking. So yep, once again, the science is there. But what makes ours different? Why are we talking about Zinzino Balance Oil? Is because it has been proven to protect the omega-3s through the addition of polyphenols. Now, these polyphenols come from green olives and they're pre-harvested. They have a beautiful high amount of polyphenols, which protects, just like in nature, just the way the fish were designed, omegas and polyphenols together. So we've brought back the synergy of these two working together. And that's what the balance oil does differently to all other omega oils on the market. It's incredible. And how do we know it works so effectively? Because when we test through the oil stability index, so this is through the fisheries and aquaculture, they know that krill oil only lasts 3 hours. And I still see so many practitioners advertising to use krill oil. We know that the standard omega-3s with the vitamin E added last maybe 10 hours. We've got the cod liver oil with vitamin E added. It does a bit of a better job, but only around 15 hours. Yet when we look at the balance oil with the polyphenols there to protect the omega-3, that is up to 35 hours. That's more than one day. So when you're consuming daily, you are actually counter-affecting everything and helping oxidative stress, as well as getting those omega-3s into the cell membrane. So you're actually reversing all of that damage, which is great. That's what we want to do. So there's another part of the puzzle though. Just get your head around the cellular membrane health first. Then we're going to go a bit deeper and we're going to talk about the cells in the gut. Now, you should have really heard by now the connection between the gut and the brain, the gut and the immune system, and that the gut is the center that drives health and wellness. Now, we know, have known for a long time, that there are a lot of issues that can affect lifestyle factors that affect our gut microbiome. Now, that certainly causes pro-inflammatory conditions in our gut. We get an increase of gram-negative bacteria instead of gram-positive bacteria. So what we're trying to do is come back and look at the gut and reduce inflammation in the gut as well, because that is one of the hugest drivers of the inflammatory response. So yes, you might be healing the cell membrane and helping your nutrients, but guess what? Your nutrients still have to be absorbed in the gut. Not only that, thanks to the latest science that Zenzino has brought out, we know through testing those drops of blood again, not chasing poo around the toilet, but literally testing 2 drops of blood, we can tell if the gut microbiome is happy or sad, like really stressed. So what happens is our individual little gut microbiome also decides on your fate of your health, even when you are consuming the right food as well. So we know this by these special ratios that we look at in the blood. How cool is this? I love this. So indole-3 propionic acid helps us to detect if the gut is happy, because that helps convert tryptophan up to serotonin for the brain, for the feel good. That helps relieve a lot of mental anxiety, depression, and stressful reactive issues in the brain. But we also know that if the microbiome is stressed, it can convert that tryptophan that you think you're consuming in your supplements to help you feel good. It will actually convert that down a different pathway. The kynurenine will go up, and that means you are more exposed to leaky gut, and your gut is stressed, leading to more inflammatory conditions, which then affects the immune system, and it just goes on from there. Okay, so we've now taken the next step to see where cellular function is really working or not, and what is driving inflammation. Now, this is huge. This is a huge step to understand in the levels of people who think they're not stressed, but actually hold a lot of stress in a deep level that their body is still not. And you'll get me down the pathway talking about the vagus nerve and the connections with the brain through that. But that's another whole journey and step. But this is why I'm so excited about the science, because of the test, don't guess. Because some people test this and are surprised of how stressed their gut microbiome actually is. So once again, these key ratios show us a very beautiful snapshot of what we need to do. And of course, we've got some answers of what to do to help. And that is to increase your gut prebiotic fiber. Okay, your gut microbiome needs to be fed to be happy, obviously. And we are feeding it with prebiotic fibers that goes all the way through the large intestine. So this source of fiber is from different sources, and that's why it feeds the microbiome all the way through. It's mathematically designed to do that, which is pretty cool. And I just want to make a note, the beta-glucans on here, they are gluten-free as well. Now, we know that all our products tick a lot of boxes, and that's what I also love about Zenzino. So these boxes allow us to have these health claims that are approved by the European Food Safety. So we know that, once again, talking about brain fetus development, eye development in the fetus as well, we're looking at blood cholesterol, blood pressure, eye development, oxidative stress, bone structures. Obviously, different parts of the body take longer to repair, So don't expect to just take the oil for 6 weeks and think that your bones all of a sudden going to be helped. But it is part of the whole biochemical structure, is when you give your body the right ingredients, it starts to operate on a more healthy biomarkers. Okay, so metabolic function is there. So every single system in your body benefits from this. That's what's so cool. And it is like the operating system that helps the cellular membrane drive whether you're going to have nutrients come in and toxins come out, which affects generally every single cell, every function in the body. So Zenzino have these beautiful products. We've got the 3 tests. We've got the balance test, which I might mention doesn't just measure omega-3 to 6 ratio. It does way more. Okay, we actually measure 11 different essential fatty acids that help us have a look at a snapshot of how your body is affected, whether it's your brain, your mental health in the brain, or your oxidative levels. So we can go in and have a look and just have a snapshot, see how well your cell membrane fluidity is, your oxidative protection, and we can break that down to see, is it dietary coming through from too many omega-6s? We can have a look in this 20-page report to tell you what you need to change in your diet. You can deeply dive into that. This is not for practitioners. This is for average, everyday people, that you can get control of your own health. We also have a HbA1c, which is, once again, we're looking at a snapshot over 120 days of how well your body handles your blood sugar regulation. A lot of people do not realize that they have a metabolic syndrome happening, a bit of resistance. And they think that because they don't have type 1 or type 2 diabetes, that their blood sugar regulation might be fine. This HbA1c certainly will pick this up before you have the symptoms of disease. And then we have the beautiful gut health test, which is the one I was just speaking about earlier. So when you're looking at these 3 tests and you put those into your own hands, you can really control where your health is directed towards, and you can monitor that without having to go to doctors or naturopaths or anyone else. This is putting the health back into your own hands. This is what we call preventative medicine. Okay, and then we have the supplements, which change any problems that you will have, is the standard balance oil. We have the vegan, which is made from the algae, just gone blank. We also have the Aqua X. Now, this is the only water-soluble omega supplement that is designed specifically for those of you that may have fatty issues, digesting fats. You may not have a gallbladder. A lot of people have liver conditions where their bile flow is just not stimulating enough. So this is a beautiful one to start on if anyone has any digestive issues. The Balance Oil Premium. Now, this is very special. If you've got excessively high levels of your omega-6 to 3 ratios out of whack, I suggest the Premium. This is 30 times stronger in the polyphenols. So this really protects the oxidative levels. So sometimes we use that first in my clinic to help reduce that and to protect the oxidative protection in the beginning. And then we go back to the standard balance oil. Now, the premium capsules, for anyone who possibly may have an issue with the all natural, but they're still citrus flavors, we find the Ascent capsules do the trick. Okay, so don't think that if you do not handle lime flavors, lemon flavors, you should use the capsules. But always test. Like, everybody should remember, you are an individual. Always be testing how you respond to any products. Now, we also have the Xenobiotic, which is very special. Start slow. A lot of people do not realize they have possibly an imbalance of their bacteria, and jumping onto 2 scoops of this straight away will cause you to have some gut issues. It will be like a party going on in there with lots of bloating and wind possibly. So please start slow. Always start slow, no matter what you're taking, and work your way up. We also have the beautiful skin serum, which is my favorite. That's all I use. And if you are aware of the apps out there that you can use to scan things, to test for toxic ingredients, we score 100 out of 100. I love it. So now there is another one coming very soon to the market. You may see here, sitting here, the Collagen Boost. Not going to talk about it tonight, other than it's coming. We're waiting for it to land very, very soon. And if you are going to attend any of the upcoming live events in either Melbourne, Sydney, or the Gold Coast next week, you will learn more about Collagen Boost. So please come to one of our live presentations. I'm telling you now, we're comparing this against a lot of others that are on the market. And because of the way this is formulated, this is not just collagen. This is combined with everything that is needed for the bioavailability, the bioactivation, and this works fast. It helps your body at gut level, help you produce your own collagen level with hyaluronic acid. It also has other ingredients. Let me just read these off the list. We have zinc, we have copper, we have rice bran, ceramides. I've got to learn a little bit more about those. Glycine, biotin, L-arginine, magnesium, vitamin C, pre and postbiotics, hyaluronic acid, and it is a marine-based collagen. Now, the combination of this, like I talked before about the Xenobiotic even has this as well. It's called Synergy. And this is what our beautiful essential fatty acids do in our balance oils. This is Synergy. So this is Synergy so perfected that the activation that happens, we do a 10-day test trial. Take a photo, take this supplement for 10 days, take another photo, and you will see changes. So we're really, really exciting of what this brings, not only to making us look beautiful on the outside, but remember, collagen supports all of your cells on the inside. Okay, this is the matrix, the glue that holds your healthy cells together. So not only do we have healthy cells, we have a beautiful matrix which helps support those cells. So healing, even for sports and performance and recovery. This is what we need. Aging, we need this. Somebody's injured a knee or is having surgery. You've cut your skin. You need collagen to repair. Every single organ system in the body relies on collagen. And as we age, our collagen production reduces. So we're very, very excited to learn more about this. See you at one of the events next week. But just as we finalize off, I forgot to mention all the ticks of the boxes that we have. My favorite is informed sports, okay? Athletes at such elite levels and Olympians do not mess around with taking anything that could possibly get them kicked out of their chosen profession. So for me, I know they trust Zenzino and have done for a very long time. We have so many European ambassadors who are elite athletes and Olympians. So if it's good enough for them, that's a tick that's good enough for me. But as you can see, there's plenty of other ticks across whatever one rocks your boat the most. And what I love about, let me get my back here, is that our products are, you will not find the labels that said, don't take if you're pregnant, don't take if you're a child, don't take if you're this age. Whenever you see that on any label, start to question why. This is all natural. This is safe from the stage of gestation all the way to the grave, the geriatric stage. So there is no one at any stage of life that could be sitting on this call right now that wouldn't have something that would benefit from this. And what I love about this, there are so many promises out there in the market for the quick fix, for the latest guru product, for the latest health fix. But the one thing that changes everything is the ability to test, don't guess. Before you even start to take our product, we like to check that you need it. We then like to double check with another test 4 months down the track to make sure it is doing what we say it will do. How many other products on the market actually support you to test if they are working or not? I really do ask you that question, because as a practitioner, that is all I rely on. The power of the proof. And that is why I trust Zenzino, that they are on the mission to become the biggest preventative health company in the world. And I'm very excited to be part of that and to watch the growth, to be bringing in these new products into Australia that help just tackle health at the basic cellular level as the very first step in the healing journey. Thank you so much for your joining us tonight. Thanks, Margie.